What's up, YouTube? It's your boy JB, and we are here today with Games People Play Season 2, Episode 3, Love and Basketball. Alright, you guys, so before we get into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and are not yet subscribed, I really need you guys to stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. Do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button, the like button, notifications, turn them on, share this video, and with that out the way, without further ado, let's discuss Games People Play, shall we? Alright, you guys, so this episode, it was an interesting episode. So we'll talk about, we're not going to go in particular order of the episode. We're going to talk about people as they related to the episode. So we're going to first start talking about Marcus. So Marcus wakes up in his nasty ass room, and I mean that room was nasty, that bed, everything was just nasty, right? So his dad gives him a call and tells him, get your ass up, get in that shower, and clean that funk off you, right? So then we later see that Marcus has called the detective over, right? And Marcus is doing this because Marcus wants to know if the detectives have any information on Deja and what's this one? Vanessa, right? So he wants to know if they have any information, and the detective's like, "You call me for information?" It's like, I can't give you anything. Like, this is a case that we're working. Like, if you want information, call, hire a PI, do whatever, but don't call me, basically, right? Because he can't discuss the particulars of the case with him. So then we see that, so look like this season is going to be a battle of the egos between Mr. Marcus and Romello, right? So they on the court, they practicing, right? Romello, kind of, pushes him, nudges him a little bit. Actually, we're looking at that, like, if this was an actual basketball game, I wouldn't be surprised if the referees didn't call that a flagrant foul. Because it looked like a flagrant, but it could, and then it also looked like a bit of a flop from Marcus. So Romello, now you were dead ass wrong for saying that, Vanessa ran over one of Marcus's hoes. Marcus was ready to fight. So after that, the coach was like, so you're gonna fight everybody who got something to say about your wife? Like, that's not a good deal, which is true. It's not right. It's not a good thing. So then we see Marcus, right? So they're doing a photo shoot, and Romello asked if you think she's a screamer or a moaner, and I'm pretty positive he was talking about Eden because they were looking at Eden. It's gonna be something between Eden and Marcus at this. Marcus is gonna have to learn some self-control, because really and truly what Romello is doing is basically just trying to get under his skin. You guys, I'm gonna have to turn this car on because it is cold, and yeah, I need a little heat in this car. Sorry. So y'all gonna hear that. But yeah, so basically that's what he's trying to do, is just get under his skin. We're gonna pause here and we're gonna move forward, you guys. Alright, you guys, next up, let's talk about Nia and Layla real quick. So we see Nia, right? So we see Nia, she getting her workout on. I'm like, oh, come on, Nia, get the workout in, right? So then she gets a text message from Eric, and we'll go back to this. We'll go back to why Eric texted her about that. You guys remember, in episode 1, Nia got that box of, those sex toys, right? The sex stuff, right? So, and she, remember, her and Eric had sex and they used that. She thought Eric sent it to her, but come to find out, Eric didn't send it to her. And then, she lied to Eric saying that she sent it, right? So Eric has texted her like, why did you lie about, the box? And she said, basically she says, because you've been going crazy. He says, I'm not crazy. She says, no, you're not crazy, but the things that you're doing here lately, very crazy like. And he says that they need to talk, right? So then we see Layla. So Layla is doing this audition for this movie, right? Or television show. I don't know what it is. But she's doing this audition. And her acting is terrible. Like, let's be real. Layla's acting was not good at all. I mean, I'm just like, wow. How did Layla get, but you guys remember in the first episode that, remember that agent guy found her, right? And I still have a huge side eye for that guy. I still don't trust him. So like I said, she's doing her audition. It's terrible, right? So then we see that she actually got that role. I'm like, wait a minute, how did she get that role? Because her acting in that reel that she was doing was horrible. So I'm like, I don't get how she got this job. And I know she didn't sleep with anybody, but I'm like, this is kind of odd. You got this apartment that you can't afford, probably. You get this acting role that you can't really act. But okay. So we see this guy, his name is, what is his name? His name is Spencer, right? So he's her co-star, right? And he's very smitten by Ms. Nia. So Layla wants to set things up with Nia and Spencer, right? But Nia was like, nah, Layla, I'm not really looking for anything right now. You know, my situation with Eric. And she's like, girl, if you say so, okay? So then we later see Nia and Layla. They went out for dinner, right? So she asked, Layla asked Nia, you know, why did she and Eric break up? And so Nia, in her own words, explained why they broke up, right? So then Layla, how did that happen? Oh, you know what? I must have been typing fast and didn't realize that I went out of order a little bit. While they were at dinner, Layla got a phone call about getting that role. But I'm still confused as to how she got that role. So then we see Layla and Nia, right? So they were hanging out by the pool. And, I know what I did. My bad, you guys. But suffice it to say, she got the role. I've already said that she got the role. They met Spencer. So they were hanging out at Layla's apartment by the pool, right? And even in this moment, I'm surprised that Nia didn't question it. Like, girl, how are you living here? Like, you just got this acting gig. You haven't been working. Well, you have, but this apartment looked like it costs a good grip. How are you able to afford it? Like, Nia didn't ask the questions that I thought she would. So then, Layla told her about the fact that Spencer is, still has interest in her, right? And Nia was like, no, I'm not doing that. She's like, I don't want to come off as a hoe. And I will agree with Layla when it comes to, women and men, the double standard about being a hoe and not being a hoe. I agree with her, right? Girl, go and get you some. Don't worry about what people got to say. Like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Don't worry about it. What a commercial. All right, you guys. So we're going to move forward. All right, you guys. So next up, let's talk about, I forgot to mention about Layla. So this will be tying in with Layla. So we saw Layla at the end of the episode. You guys remember in the last episode that Romello, when they were all at that club and at the club, that, she and Romello had conversations with each other, right? So we see her and Romello, they're out on a little bit of a date. They're on a date with each other, right? She tells him her acting is taking off. And once again, I'm just confused how Layla's acting is taking off, because Layla didn't do a good, for me, with that audition. It wasn't the best. It was terrible. Like, let's be real. That audition was horrible. But her acting is taking off. So he's talking to her about, coming to, see some of his games that, she needs to check him out. Now she's like, you know what? I'm not really trying to get involved with no more NBA players, no more ballers. I'm not trying to get caught up with y'all's bullshit. Layla, don't. And it's something about Romello that I don't really trust right now. I think Romello is just too good. I don't trust Romello. Romello got his own. I think Romello got a lot of shit with him, and I just don't really trust Romello. So I'm gonna keep my good eye on Mr. Romello. So let's move forward to the next scene, to the next people that I want to talk about. All right, you guys. So next up, let's talk about Kareem. So we see Kareem and Quanisha, right? So they are at the crib, right? So Quanisha has, decided, I guess Quanisha does hair. But last season, wasn't she working at the Quickie Mart? I thought she worked at the Quickie Mart. But I guess she got a side hustle of doing hair, right? So Quanisha is talking about she wants to set up, a shop at the new stadium, right? So then Marcus comes over to their place, right? So Marcus and Kareem, they go outside and talk, right? So Marcus is telling Kareem about the fact that he called the cop to get information about where Vanessa and Deja were. Even Kareem was like, dude, why would you call the cops? Like, you're still a black man, and the cops can still shoot and kill you. That is true, right? And especially with how hostile Marcus was, because Marcus was a little bit hostile and a little bit, well, if this was on the streets, and the way that Marcus was talking to that cop when he wouldn't give him any information, they would say that he was being hostile, he was being aggressive. If someone had to shoot him, just pop pop pop, they would have said he was being hostile and aggressive, right? So I got it. But I'm still on the fence of, like, why. I'm still with Kareem. Like, why would you call the cop? You know that they're doing an investigation. They're not going to tell you anything about what's going on in their investigation. The person that's going to ask questions in that setting is going to be the cop, not you. Like, literally, you have no say so, you have no pull, you have no nothing, right? So then we see Quanisha. She came back, and they're talking, right? So Marcus is telling them about his issues with Romello, right? So Quanisha is talking about a girl that she had an issue with down at the shop, right? Now, I don't know if the girl is, got some kind of mental issues, but girl, if you get all the clients and then you don't want to do your job and send your clients over to Quanisha, you got a lot of issues. Like, you don't like money? Is that what you're saying? But Quanisha basically tells, Quanisha and Kareem both tell him that what he might need to do with Romello is, it's better to kill a person with kindness. Let him be a dick and an asshole to you, right? Let him be that way to you, but you don't reciprocate that. You don't give him that energy back. You match. You don't match his energy. What you do is, when you see he going, like Michelle Obama says, when they go low, we go high. So what you do is, if he comes at you sideways, be like, you know what, Mr. Romello, I don't know what you had. I don't know what went on in your life, but I'm here if you want to talk. Like, be the good guy. Don't come at him sideways. Don't feed into that negative energy that he wants you to, give to him, right? So then now see this scene. Now I will tell you guys, I was half asleep when I was watching this part. So we see, I guess it's like a sportscaster. He was talking about the game, right? Because they played a game. I don't know if it was a championship game or what, right? But whatever game it was, they lost because Marcus looked like Marcus went for a 3-pointer and he missed it, right? So the host is talking to Kareem, right? Asking Kareem, about Marcus and Romello, and asking him who he thinks number 1 is and who he thinks number 2 is. And I love Kareem's response to this. Basically, Kareem says that if, what the coach needs to do is he needs to basically treat them the same, which that is true. Don't treat one better over the other. Yes, you guys traded Romello in, to help you guys get a win, but don't overshadow, don't let, Romello overshadow the talent that you already had in Marcus. So I like what Kareem said. So we're going to move forward, you guys. All right, you guys. Actually, we're going to wrap up the episode. So let's talk about Eric. Eric went down a whole rabbit hole in this episode, right? So we see MJ and Eric, right? They're still roommates at this point. I don't know how. I would have told Eric, like, bro, I get it. You into this kind of weird. I mean, you got this paranoia. You are a conspiracy theorist. I get it. But yeah, you gotta go. Thank you for paying my rent, but I need you to leave. So he's still paranoid about Jebediah, right? Thinking that Jebediah was following him, but come to find out, it wasn't Jebediah. So I would have been like, oh, no. So we find out that MJ is a social media personality, much like Kendall. And he was doing kind of some of the stuff that Kendall does. If you guys follow Kendall on Instagram, he makes his cocktails, right? The comment section in his live that he did, somebody said, who is this? But you on his live asking, who is this? Hilarious, right? So also, while in this is the, so you guys remember I was talking to you earlier about Nia and the fact that Eric texts her asking her why did she lie to him about the package that came, right? Well, the reason that he knows about this is because MJ let it slip that he knew about it, and that Nia didn't send it, right? So then we see Eric. So this is where Eric starts to go down his rabbit hole, right? So Eric is on YouTube, right? And he's watching Cynthia Bailey. I can't pronounce her character's name. They never said what her name was. It started with an N, but I just never could pronounce it. They never pronounced it. So we're going to say Cynthia. So she's talking. Now, I'm not quite sure who she's talking about, right? I don't know if she's talking about the foundation, but she's talking about, how they basically seek people who have basically like low self-esteem. They just seek people who are low and down on themselves, basically, right? So then he hits the like button on her video. He subscribes to her channel. And then I think there's maybe like a newsletter because he signed up for it. And then, not long after that, he got a DM, right? And the DM was basically, she was like, I've saw this IP address before. And, she's like, that she has something that she would like to say to him, but she can't say it on the chat, basically, right? So she says she'll DM him. So then we later see them as they met up with each other, right? And it's more of this conspiracy stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, Eric, you're really, really dropping down this rabbit hole. And I don't think this is a good one, right? I don't think that this is a good idea. Like, get some help, get some backup, call 911, the FBI, the CIA, call someone, because I just don't think that this is going to end well, right? So MJ came into actually they did meet up. They were on the phone with each other, right? And she was like, who is that? Because MJ came into the room and she's like, I can't be on this phone with you. Gotta go. So then we see MJ and Eric, right? So MJ and Eric, they went to the barbershop, and while they're at the barbershop, they're talking about the foundation. So MJ is trying to get the guys in the barbershop to tell him that that's some crazy shit, right? The guys in the barbershop don't think it's crazy. The guys in the barbershop are on the same wavelength as Eric is, right? And they're telling him the things that they've heard that's happening. More conspiracy theorist stuff, right? I'm like, wow, so this is a lot of conspiracy theories, right? So then Eric really, really, really went down this rabbit hole. Oh, I forgot about that scene. Okay. So like I said, Eric went further down his rabbit hole. So then we see him on like what looks like a Zoom call or something like that. And he's talking to these people, and once again, it's more about these conspiracy theories. But what I was from what I was gathering, so what I'm looking at and noticing is the people that he's talking to, he's watching, right? They're saying everything on their platforms, right? But then they'll DM him, they'll private message him, and basically. Excuse me, I didn't mean to burp your face. Especially with these guys that he's on with him right now, right? This one white guy in particular, he DMs him, right? And he's talking about they're playing him on camera like they don't believe in him, but then they go into DM, they go into private message, and they believe him all of a sudden. And Eric is gonna meet up with this guy. I'm like, Eric, I don't know that one. I was like, I don't know if that you should do that, right? If you believe that the foundation is following you, I'm not gonna, just because I think I found my kindred spirits and people who believe in this stuff, I'm gonna be very skeptical about meeting with people. I'm gonna be very skeptical. I would be skeptical, but I don't know why he wasn't. So him and the guy, they're supposed to meet up, right? So he's calling Nia. Nia's ignoring the phone calls, right? So then we see him the next day, and he goes and meet up with the guy that he was on a Zoom call with, right? And the guy gets him some coffee. And Eric was chugging that coffee. And I'm like, Eric, I don't know if you should be. If I didn't see the barista making the coffee myself, I don't want it. I don't want, if I know, and I'm saying this in the sense of where Eric is at, right? He believes that the foundation is following him, right? You meet up with this person that you don't know. I'm not going to trust you to give me some coffee. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let me get my own coffee. Like, I'm going to get my own coffee. I don't trust you, right? So Eric was chugging that coffee down. And then out of nowhere, Eric starts, it like he's in this haze. And I'm like, oh shit, what's going on with Eric? Eric went outside and passed the hell. I'm like, oh no, please don't let Eric die. Oh God. But before they even got into it, the guy did tell him that the foundation is real. And I'm like, Eric, why didn't you heed it? I mean, he's telling you that they're real and you still drink that coffee. Not a good look, buddy. But that's the episode, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Leave your comments in the comment section below and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell button so that way you guys are notified when I drop anything else. Share the video and until the next one, guys. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Remember, wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance, be blessed, and I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Bye.